So you don't necessarily have to write that, but I'm having this up there for the video so y'all can see what it is. We're gonna do a hypothesis test conclusion based on just being given a confidence interval. So what I do want you to write is that example. So just write down those two sentences that you have the example part. Simple random sample was conducted on a sample of particular species of lizards, resulting in a 95% confidence interval of 3.13 inches to 5.27 inches. Want to conduct a hypothesis test with null hypothesis mu equals 4 inches. Probably not. I can't spell word anything, y'all know that. So that's why it's great that I have to spell my handwriting. I can't spell it out, spell myself. How do you spell lizard? Just one. Oh. I don't know. It's easy. It's okay. All right, so that's our scenario. I'm going to go to the next slide. It's still got that same thing on it, though, so if you're still writing it, it's fine. You don't necessarily need to write these two questions, but I want to talk through the process of making sure you understand what these answers would be without me giving you the answers. So if I were to draw this of a confidence interval, it would look like that. It would have one on each side. They would be fairly symmetrical. This is 90%, which means how much is not in the interval? 10%. So if I am doing a hypothesis test, the only thing I gave you was the null hypothesis. What is the only alternative hypothesis that we could be testing? So which one looks like this? Not equal to. So you don't need to write that question, but the answer would be, without me telling you, you know the only thing I could test would be that. And then the second question, which you don't need to write out, what alpha level would we be testing? Oh, I wrote 90, and I wrote down 90 here, and the top is 95. So 95 is between here and here, so how much is not? So what is our alpha level? Because we reject when it's out there, and how much is out there? 5%. So I just want you guys to see the connection that those are the only two options. Like, I don't have an option there that's given to me in the problem. All right, so from this interval, this is 3.13. This is 5.27. Where would 4 fall? So somewhere between them. This is our hypothesized value from here. So we are just writing a conclusion. So our typical conclusion would start with what? I said don't write with me yet. So here would be reject or fail to reject. Why? Usually. Do I have p-value? No. So I am changing this part for right now. So do I still have a null hypothesis? Yes, so we're still going to reject or fail to reject. In this particular problem, because it does fall between, that means we what? So we failed to reject the null hypothesis. Now you can start writing. So what do you think that we would write now? Like, why did we make the decision that we failed to reject it? Falls where? I shouldn't hear you. Falls in the confidence interval? What's our last sentence? We do or do not? Is that still going to be the case? I'm still going to be going, we do or do not have evidence with this. Does that still apply? Yeah. So the only thing that changed was that blue part right there. So we, in this specific case, would be the fail to reject means that we do not, and everything else is the same. So have convincing evidence that the mean, did I even say length? Should have said length up there. This particular correctly spelled lizard, apparently. That looks funny. Length of this particular lizard, we do not have physical evidence that the mean length of this particular lizard, what? So I just say that in words. Different, not equal to, whichever way you want to say it. So without having to do a second example of one that fell outside, if our value were and y'all don't have to write this one or do it however you want to do it. If it were this instead, then 3 inches would fall here. What would change of this sentence? So it'd be reject instead here. What's the next thing that would change? And then the last thing, and then that would be 3 instead. So I can ask you to do this on the test to where I give you a confidence interval, and the only thing I would ask you to do is write your conclusion. And now I would probably give you this in alpha, but I want you to understand that if I give you this, that means your only alpha could be 0.05. If I give you this, the only one I could test with the confidence interval is that one. Questions on that? Yeah.
So are you making the alpha 0.5 because of the 95%?
Yes. So it's whatever's left over. So 95% is between, so 5% is not. Yeah.
Because you before you just fall within the confidence interval.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. That doesn't bother me. Yeah. I'm really, really picky about doing everything the exact same way every single time. And me trying to not stray from that as much as possible because repetition helps. But if you do it a little bit different on your answer too, that's fine.
you go back to the